You got the win, but it came at a fair cost.
Yeah, there's carnage there in the second half in particular. Ridley before that. So, it was pretty... it's a pretty tight tussle and tough game as we expected. But, obviously injuries. Jackson Archer looked like he hurt himself. And then our three guys, a couple of them... Well, the Jones one looks reasonably... I mean, dislocated ankle is the minimum. I'm not sure what you guys know yet, but that's what it looks like. And then he'll go to hospital and have further assessments and see if there's any further damage there. But he's in a fair bit of pain and his ankle's pointing the wrong way, so that obviously doesn't sound good. Ridley, hamstring, fresh injury, unrelated to anything he's had prior, so it's a different... He's had hamstring injury before, but to the other leg, so in his 100th game, we talked about his roller coaster career. He's been Crichton medalist. Clearly, we rate him extremely highly, and he's had to overcome some adversity. And just as he looks like he's starting to get a free run at it, he gets another injury. So, but he's been through it before, and he'll be back. So hopefully that's not too serious. And Gresham couldn't come back on late with a bit of adductor tightness, so we'll get that checked and get it assessed and get back to you.
It looked like you guys were trying for a fair bit to get stretcher on for Jones, and sort of playing was going on. Was it a difficult situation there, or maybe just because it was so late in the quarter? Yeah. It was sort of...
I didn't have any part in that, so that was just up to the medical teams and the umpires. But I thought the umpires actually... They're pretty good. I can't remember a game where the umpires had come over to our huddle at three-quarter time and just said, look, this might take a while. So, and I thought it was actually pretty handy for us because we needed to make some pretty significant adjustments. So the extra couple of minutes helped us. But the players are also very... I think it can be a concern. You look across and you're a couple of players down and you have to reshuffle players into positions that they're not... It's not their primary or secondary roles. So I thought the players... were pretty calm and composed in that situation, which was pleasing.
What are those adjustments that you make when you've got, Melbourne is surging in that last quarter and you've got limited numbers on the bench, so you're trying to reduce fatigue in players?
Well, I think that's the thing that pleased me most out of tonight's game. There's a lot to like early in the game. I think a lot of things that we've been working on probably for the first time this year have really we put a lot of passages of play together. But the thing that I was really pleased with tonight was, the resilience and the character of the group. To North's credit, they were never out of it. We could never really put them away. They just kept coming. We obviously had some adversity in the last quarter, and coaches are always loath to individualise, but we had some individuals that just stood up in big moments. Players that we couldn't take off the ground. It's always a challenge when you tell your almost 37-year-old ruckman he just needs to stay out there, which he's sick of hearing from me over the journey. He wasn't the only one. There were quite a few. So yeah, it was really pleasing from that front.
It seemed like you were trying to use the corridor a lot in that first half. It was really working, but then I guess that sort of strength of Wayne in the second half is a lot more pressure on. How do you see that play out?
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting as we were able to move the ball back through the middle of the ground, and North clearly adjusted to that in the second half, and it was a little bit. We'll work on that because we can't control the opposition's pressure, and to North's credit, they lifted their pressure rating in that part of the game. I think we had some opportunities to go forward. I mean, we've adjusted our inside 50s. Almost dialed it back a little bit because we have been a high inside 50 team but a low efficiency team, so we've dialed that back to try and improve our efficiency and get better entries, but we're probably just in between that at the minute of where we'd like to be. So I thought when North's pressure went up we could have gone forward a bit quicker, because when we did go forward a bit quicker we looked pretty dangerous.
Just in terms of because obviously now the reality sinks in with those injuries after the game, how do you pick up the players during the week knowing that you're going to have of those guys potentially available for?
Yeah, it's just another test of character, and it's I've said to the players, characters are sort of a hard thing to measure. You know, we try and do it in the draft. You know, we like probably most clubs, are really, you know, the talent is pretty easy to identify. The hard things to measure are the intangibles, and character's one of those, and resilience is another one. And character and resilience really only reveal themselves under adversity. So we'll just see how that goes, and we get an opportunity to stand up again under a bit of pressure, and you know, we're going to have to find some players, but that's opportunity. And you know, I think we've had quite a few players in our emergencies multiple weeks in a row, so clearly we think they're ready.
Talk about characters being tested. Just go back to Goldie. You said just earlier you didn't think he'd play again this year, obviously when Sam and Nick were inside. But can you speak to the way he's going to come in and play a role straight away, and maybe now play a key role throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, I have talked about this, and so I am answering. I just don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself all the time, but I talk to the players, particularly the players who aren't getting opportunity, about you can't control when your opportunity comes. All you can control is being ready when it does come. And you know, AFL footy and history of AFL footy tells me that, you know, your team in round 1 isn't the same as round 6, isn't the same as round 15, and things will happen. And it's a really hard message to give to the players that are sitting in the VFL or are injured, you know, or feel like they're not playing the position that they feel is their best position, you know, to control the controllables and be ready when your opportunity comes. And I got two opportunities in the last couple of weeks to talk to that. I mean, Peter Wright, you know, has been injured at the start of the year, but it would have been a challenge to play Brian, Draper, Caddy, Langford, Wright all in the same team. And, you know, they're all jostling for positions, and so it's focus on the controllables, and Pete did that. And Goldie does that better than anyone. I mean, he literally sacrificed his role to support Draper and Brian, but repeatedly said to me that when you need me, I'll be ready. And he trained like that. He prepares himself like that. You know, and I thought Cherry was very good tonight, but I thought, you know, I don't think we come away with a win without Goldie tonight.
Do you have any concerns over, I know tackles have come up over last week, Jackson with that sling tackle he got penalised for earlier? I think Zohar played out the game, but...
Yeah, he's probably on the receiving end of one too, I think. So, yeah, it's really, obviously it's a really hard game to umpire, but I thought tonight it was a really hard one. A lot of players were being spun in tackles. Some were holding the ball, some weren't. And they're 50-50 calls. It's not a criticism of the umpires, but it's just... it'd be hard to be a player now in terms of, you know, I reckon Davies Uniacke is as elusive and Simpkin as anyone in the competition. And when we did get the tackle and we spun them, they were still able to get rid of the ball. So you can't dump them, but you don't want them to release the ball. So we've just got to keep working on the technique. And, yeah, I think it's a real challenge for players, clearly. And it's been in the news this week.
On that umpire, what do you make of the umpire reversing his decision?
I don't know. I mean, you're asking the wrong person there. Was it a free kick against us first, wasn't it? Yeah. Someone kicked the ball away. It just wasn't us. I mean, the guys in the box lost their minds, and I said, no, they'll sort it out. And they sorted it out and then balled it up. So I don't know what happened there. But, I mean, honestly, I spend about 0.5 of a second worrying about that stuff. It's like I can't control it. So, you know, have a bit of a laugh, and I wouldn't be laughing if we lost by 2 points.
Is it a hard sort of game? You come out, the players come in as well, and they're almost flat despite winning. That they come in, they look at their teammates sitting there, and you as a coach, you come in and you want to be excited about the win, but 3 key blokes are injured and going to be out for a bit.
Yeah, it's and we're 4-3. I mean, we're what's that, 4 of our last 5. So you know, but for us, I mean, it's a bit of a. I think it's a real positive, but it's certainly a challenge for our team and our resilience. We play in close games. I mean, that goes right back to last year as well. I mean, it's you know, we lost a few, but we were. I think if you look at our margins over the last 18 months, it's pretty tight. And so maybe I've got to stop telling the players that this is going to be bloody tough game, and it's a tight competition because at the moment they're delivering. It'd be nice to win one by 10.
You see it every day. We only see it on weekends. What is it that makes Zach Merritt so good? I thought he was best on going easily tonight.
Yeah, no arguments from me. What makes him so good? Well, how long you got? It's unfair to make too many comparisons, but this one I think is appropriate. He reminds me so much of Nathan Buckley in his will to win, and he's so driven. When I had the misfortune of playing against Nathan Buckley and watched him, and then had the fortune of coaching him, and his drive and just will to win, I thought it's close to second to none. And Merritt reminds me so much of him in that regard. But Merritt also, like Nathan, backs that up with work ethic, and he works on his craft every day. He's always seeking to get better. Every time he comes into the NEC hangar, he is just, I'm here to get better. And he expects that of his teammates. And I think that the other part of his game that has developed enormously is his leadership both on and off field. Now, he's always been a very good player at AFL level, but now he's taking others with him. So he's not just content to be, the best player on the ground. He wants to drag others with him. And he sets the example on and off the field.
How much does that want to win really rub off on the other players? There was a moment in the third quarter where Kako could have used him and it might have eased the pressure a little bit, and he didn't. And Merritt was quite upset, visually upset.
Yeah.
I'll obviously have a conversation, I would have thought, but how much does he inspire the group through that disappointment of?
Yeah, that's the fine line between, we've worked really hard in that space, and Zach has led it. So, but Isaac just didn't see him, and that's we had a few of those tonight where I keep reminding myself, almost on a week by week basis, the game is very easy to see from the box and from the stands, and I think that might be why some coaches go to the bench to remind themselves of. It's harder than people think from ground level. On TV and from the elevated position, it's easy. Isaac is a very unselfish player. If he'd seen Zach, he would have kicked it to him. Nate Caddy had Peter Wright in the goal square, miskicked it, and Nate's told me 4 times I was trying to kick it to Pete. I wasn't having a shot. So stop apologising, Nate. And so he said sorry. But, that's just Zach. I mean, he works hard, and I reckon 3, 4, 5 years ago, he would have shown a lot more disappointment than he did.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.